Alright, what's up guys, it's KOSDFF here, and today we're going to be doing another live comm rant style video. I actually really enjoyed making the last one, although I did battle with myself quite a lot in editing because I really wanted to add in a bunch of clips, a whole bunch of extra audio so that I could better explain my points, because my last video very much was a ranting live comm. I got distracted. Some of the points I was trying to make I didn't feel like got explained very well, but I eventually overcame that want and just uploaded the video as a straight up rant, and to kind of just to make sure that that natural just rambling feel keeps to the video, because this is the kind of content style that I'm really hoping to do a lot of in the future. It's not going to be the only style of video I do on this channel from going forward. I know I'm doing 2 in a row and people might think that means I'm only going to do this kind of video. No, I'm still going to make troll videos, still going to do a whole lot of stuff around Call of Duty World at War and all the TKGFuelHouse videos. So no, but I really hope you guys are going to enjoy this style of content. And the things we're going to talk about, I'm going to try and keep as relevant as possible. I know a lot of the things I would like to talk about are not necessarily important to the age group that generally that my videos appeal to and things like that. And I'll keep that in mind, but at the same time I'm definitely going to rant about some stuff that you probably won't see a whole lot of people say. Or honestly, actually, take that back. That sounds terrible. I'm gonna rant about things in a way that generally, is the opposite view or the opposite opinion. But usually argued in kind of a different way and a clever way of looking at things. Because I often play the devil's advocate almost in every argument that I get into, whether I care about the result or not. Really, it's just just because I like pointing out, because when people argue so adamantly or so vehemently for something. And then they, you point little tiny holes, just little tiny holes. Every argument has holes. That's why it's an argument. There would be no other side if there was no holes in your argument. No one's ever 100% right in everything. Because if you look at something from any angle, really, you can always find an exception. And if you argue like that, basically the little shit way of arguing, just so that the other person knows that even if though they're right, they're not 100% right. That you'll go ahead and let them be right or wrong in an argument or right in an argument. You're not going to hand them a full plate of saying, yes, everything you've said is right and everything I said is wrong. No one ever argues like that. And it's usually not the best way to win an argument either, because you'll just never get anybody to concede. And that's what I was trying to say kind of in my last video. It wasn't so much so that we were going to argue sides and then I was going to give you guys the real answer, which is kind of how that video ended up being. Really, I was just going to kind of show that the little holes in each argument that are also true that we should also think about, and that are usually funny to point out because it really pisses off the people on either side. That's what I meant to say. I even told myself that when I was making this video that I wasn't going to rant on about my last video and explain it, that they would just get it eventually. Why tell them when I can just show you over the course of many videos? What? Oh, damn it. I shouldn't have reloaded. I thought I had that kill. But yeah, once again, I tweeted out asking you guys what you guys wanted to hear me rant about. And there was a lot of topics. I really appreciate everybody that replies back, and asks me to talk about stuff. A lot of the stuff was pretty funny, and I want to say I'm going to address a lot of it for the most part. Obviously, this is a new kind of video style, and a lot of people have been wanting answers to, I guess, a lot of questions, or wanting my opinion on a lot of things, something that I usually withhold quite often, except for on Twitter, simply because sometimes I feel like just having an opinion about something, relates you to the topic, and I sometimes just don't want to be related with some things. But if I'm just ranting and rambling on while I'm playing Call of Duty, that relates me to nothing but a ranting, rambling gamer, and I'm okay with being wrong in that fashion. Damn it! But no, there was an overwhelming response wanting me to talk about Jake Paul and the recent controversies he's been in. Oh, get no scoped. I try to stab you like an idiot. And if you guys don't know who Jake Paul is, I don't know how you don't. He's pretty much taken over the internet or social media in large part over the last few months. I believe he's a Viner / Disney star. He's got a show on Disney. He's the brother of Logan Paul, who I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of because he's been on YouTube for the better part of the last year and a half. I even know of him because he was a vlogger that kind of started around the same time I did in New York City, which is where we were living, or close. Damn it, you fucker. So I took an interest in him, but his little brother, Jake Paul, I don't actually know a whole lot about besides the controversies that he's been in. The most recent one being he got kicked out of his house, or his team house, which is kind of funny because he copied us. We did that first. We just didn't do it in such a toxic way. This guy pretty much handled it the way I wish I would have handled it in hindsight, because we just let the neighborhood win, and because we wanted to go on about our happy little lives, and we generally don't like a whole lot of drama. Dick? But no, that's not how Jake Paul and the rest of Team 10 handled it. They went full-blown fuck the neighbors, we can do whatever the hell we want, and then actually had a whole bunch of their fans come to their houses and stuff like that. I'll leave it to the news source sites and all those guys to fill you in on that, because it's not generally what we're going to talk about today. What the fuck? Man, I'm just getting people assists. I'm the assist master. Anybody need some help getting their kills? I'll weaken them. What I really wanted to talk about is the trend right now on the internet, because a lot of people want to say that Jake Paul and a couple other of his fellow Viners came over from Vine after Vine shut down and are ruining YouTube. That is a popular topic right now, believe it or not. They actually think that YouTube, despite everything else that's going on, is solely being ruined, or even more poignantly, the rap industry or the music industry is being ruined by these Viners. Which I think is a bit unfair, because there's a lot of people that came over from Vine that make amazing content, that are fucking killing the game. They're doing it the right way, and they're doing it the funniest way, and they're blowing up and doing really well, and they're handling the change in social media and I guess the change in scrutiny. Because let's face it, when you're making a 7-second video that's almost always positive, it's a bit different when you have a video up on the internet for forever that captures 10 minutes usually of you, that anybody can pick apart in almost 1,000 ways. And I feel like that is exactly what's happening to Jake Paul. Now, that statement can kind of, I guess be seen as supportive almost, because I've said I would copy of how he handled his last house. That was obviously a joke. I would never do that. I have a lot of respect for people's homes, because I expect a lot of respect for my home. And I wouldn't like, living next to someone that is pulling the stuff and doing the stuff he does. That being said, we got kicked out of the last neighborhood just because of who we were. We were actually quite quiet and really respectful and good neighbors. And even the people that actually live next to us would have told you that. Anyways. The only thing I can give Jake Paul props for is something that, he didn't invent. It's something that he doesn't, isn't doing for the first time. And that's why, the shock value of who he is and his personality is getting him all this attention. It's not true. He's employing a tactic that kind of began around 7 years ago on the internet and has exploded into the dominant force of humor or creativity or interest, really. If you really think about it, you can dive as far as interest in everything you see on the internet that's not informative, I guess, for the point of teaching. It employs a method called negative attention getting. Now, I guess you could say it kind of relates to that old, I guess journalism adage, all publicity is good publicity, meaning if someone writes about you and it's extremely negative, that just the fact that you got your name out there is good, because, just being heard of is enough. It doesn't really matter what people are saying. And this used to be kind of true, but with the explosion of social media, the tone of humor that is now, taken over the internet, which I believe kind of started from, forum trolls and trolling and video games, that eventually ended up just trolling people, and then it became trolling ideals and topics and pretty much just poking fun at everybody. So what is negative attention getting? Negative attention getting is doing something negative, something usually, the closer you can get it to unforgivable, the better. And then once you put it out in the world, and you got to give the world enough time to react. So you got to put it out there and not say anything or not react or explain the thing you did until everybody sends an obscene amount of hate your way. We'll call it attention. Then you explain it away as a joke, or you are just trolling, or it really wasn't this huge thing, or you take an angle that explains it in this like really awesome heart of gold way, but it just makes you really stupid, because you can't blame a stupid person for making a mistake. If he didn't know, he didn't know. And as long as everyone can kind of agree that it was reasonable that that person wasn't aware or didn't know, like a 19-year-old moving all of his friends into a house didn't know that you probably shouldn't be bringing a whole lot of fans to your neighborhood because it might disturb the peace and quiet that your neighbors are legally entitled to enjoy on their property. Now, this tactic is a double-edged sword. You do it too much, you end up a hated figure on YouTube, and eventually all that attention and views that you get from all that hate eventually just takes over, and people start to dislike you, which usually destroys your creativity for making your videos. No one likes to make stuff that everyone just picks apart and hates constantly, irrelevant of how good the content is or how well it's made or whatever, just the entertainment value in general. They'll just hate on it to hate on it because they hate you. Eventually that kills a career. So a lot of people have become extremely, let's say, proficient at dancing that negative attention getting line, where they give themselves enough negative attention, but they pre-plan it in a way that they guess that they're gonna have this huge backlash or negative feedback. Let's face it, if you've been doing it for a long time, or if you've been on Twitter for long enough, you pretty much know how to do that. And I'm even talking to you guys too. You guys think you're innocent? No, I'm not just talking about YouTubers. People on Twitter, people on Reddit, they do negative attention getting all the time. You know how many times me and Sharp and Fuya get, oh, Justin or KOSDFF or Sharp, you're an idiot, you're fat, you're retarded, you're ugly, or something like that. And we respond back and roast, and you guys say, oh, I can't believe you responded. I love you. You make great content. Well, I'm your biggest fan. I've been watching you since then. And you're just like, what? 5 minutes ago, I was a fucking fat loser who didn't have a real job and that your dad could beat up. But now back to Jake Paul and his ability to dance that line with negative attention getting. Now obviously I don't believe he's in the whole, you know, regaining part yet. I believe he's still in that getting attention part, which can kind of sound like hate, but believe it or not, a lot of your favorite YouTubers have employed this exact same tactic. Some people do it a lot over a really long period of time and get a whole lot of hate. Some people just do it in, you know, little portions, little drops here and there. They like to remain innocent but still have some fun. And I even use myself as the first example. I make troll videos. Now, do they have negative effects on people? I don't really think so, because I'm making fun of gamer tags. Most of the time the people enjoy them. And the things that I say are usually not that insulting or, you know, crazy or anything like that. I'm usually just kind of poking fun at what they say. But nonetheless, I am using a form of negative attention getting. I'm throwing flashbangs. It's pissing people off. They're getting all angry, which is funny for the video. And then I usually, my sole mission after that is to make them laugh or somehow get them on my side or somehow get them to not think I'm such a bad guy, usually by making jokes and making them laugh. So it's like, you know, first they hate me and then they like me at the end. It makes for a great YouTube video. So I employ that exact tactic almost every single time I make one of those videos. Another genre of YouTubers does this in a really interesting way, and they actually do it by hiding behind the title of it being news or informative. They say all the same stuff and they give all the same topics and they usually say all the same drastic opinions, but they say they're reporting to people, therefore removing themselves from the malice of having, you know, had that opinion. Or having to be the snitch or the tattletale or the whistleblower. They don't say they don't get to be that person because they're telling the news. So when you see H3 or Keemstar or Scarce make a video, yeah, they're doing the same thing. They're talking about something negative to get the attention back. So what's the point of me pointing out all this like useless shade? Because I'm not even throwing shade. I'm almost praising people, and that's the, you know, kind of the argument I wanted to get to, is that when you work on the internet, your job is in large part to work with trends, whether you're creating them or following them over and over and over again. I like to equate it with artists who make a really hot album to jumpstart their career, and after that they go to ghostwriters. They get a lot of help making their music because their name is what's valuable, their talent is what's valuable. But you know, to be able to keep delivering like on a production line is difficult, and the more help you get, the better it is. It's the same thing on YouTube. You usually jumpstart your career by making some kind of video style or creating a trend or just, I don't know, making something that no one else has made before. And after a while, once the hype around that dies down and you still want to have a career, you have to, you know, hop from trend to trend to trend to trend. You guys might have seen that myself again. I was a trolling YouTuber. I eventually switched over and became a vlogger, and now I'm, you know, kind of just jumping between everything just because, I don't know, I like creating. Okay, the reason. What's the point of me pointing out, I guess, the reality of the situation with YouTube stars, with how, I guess, entertainment works on social media right now, what's getting attention, why it's getting attention, why is everybody hating on these people and they're still getting a ridiculous amount of return and pay and, you know, feedback and everything that people generally want off of YouTube, and they're doing it in a negative way and everybody hates them for it. I want to propose to you guys a thought or an idea, a way of looking at the situation. So one, that you can give them a little slack, one. Two, be more positive yourself because you really only have yourself to blame, and will really just allow you to see the situation for what it really is. Right now there's a trend, like I said earlier in this video, on the internet called a negative attention getting, where you want to get attention by doing something that usually rubs the line of what's the norm or what people are going to accept with, you know, a smile and just say, okay, that's really nice, that's good, family friendly, good stuff. If you really wanted to shock the world or make a wave, you know, right now the way you do it's negative. You know, it used to be science way back in the day. Before, it used to be amazing creativity or just, you know, something you could do that no one else could do. Right now it's just how negative can you be in a funny way and then still like survive it afterwards. We'll equate it with the Game of Thrones. It's just a game of who can get the most followers before the whole world hates you and you still explain it away. And unfortunately for YouTube and the internet, the way that people are explaining it away now is, hey, I'm a dumb kid. I'm 19, 18, 17, 20 years old. I've made a whole lot of money in a really short period of time. I'm gonna go out here and do exactly what anybody else would do if they really, like, you know, I guess were asked what they would do instead of what they would actually do. Because if you told me when I was a kid that I was gonna grow up to play video games and own a video game organization, I probably would have gone crazy. I probably would have looked at that as, you know, the exact situation I'm sure Jake Paul looked at it as the internet's his playground and he can go do whatever he can do to get himself attention, and as long as it's not too bad. Did he have a whole bunch of kids over to, you know, terrorize his neighborhood? Who knows? Did he invite a bunch of fans over to see him because they're fans and he, really loves his fans? So if you train yourself to see the negative ploy, the thing that's gonna get the attention, the better chance you have of seeing, how they're gonna explain it away. And you can almost predict the internet almost. If I can almost, look at a news report and someone will do something extremely negative, completely on accident, like the chick tweeting out hair extensions saying she's gonna donate them, you can usually see how they'll explain it away, or, the way they'll get away with it, or the way they'll, I guess maintain their ability to continue making that style of content without like the whole internet freaking hating it. But I did want to end this video or leave this video off with kind of like a scary thought, my version of a final thought from Jerry Springer. What's dangerous about this negative attention getting thing is it's almost a license to do whatever you want as long as you don't end up in jail. In a million different ways, the things that won't be so obvious and things that'll be extremely obvious. What should really scare you is these people that eventually have to be held accountable. Because it's not like a company or a huge, group of people that are being held accountable a lot of the times for these things. It's, singular on one person. Time really does heal all wounds here on the internet. As long as you play your cards right and you're not a complete moron, you can actually change the tide for yourself, given enough time. And you've seen a couple people do it, and you're about to see a couple more people do it. Because everybody has some kind of sympathy, some kind of empathy that time does change people and that people can be different and they can learn the mistakes of their ways and they can come back. You guys have seen it in Hollywood 1,000 times. You're about to start seeing it here on YouTube. What you guys should be scared of are the YouTubers that know this and have the balls enough to employ it. Because I don't think we've seen the end of Jake Paul and his shenanigans. I think we're just seeing the start. I don't think he's come anywhere near that line of unforgivable. Him and his brother have a lot of stunts to pull, a lot of things to do that's going to shock, I guess the social media community, and even more dangerous than mainstream media community and their impression of social media stars. They're not giving us the greatest name, ladies and gentlemen, but they are getting us a whole lot of attention, and they're employing a method that's the trend right now, and we should almost be commending them for their ability to do it so well. And I thought this video would be interesting to make because I don't see how somebody can, knowing this and agreeing with that, and they're, I guess somewhat admiring someone's ability to do that. Because it's not just social media stars and actors, it's everyone. Politics, everything. You see it absolutely everywhere. That trend's not on fucking Twitter. That trend's on fucking planet Earth. And if you have a moderate respect for someone's ability to warp that and use that to their advantage, I just don't see how you can hate someone. Fully. I can see how you can dislike someone, but hate them? I don't know, man. I just don't think I could hate somebody like that. I guess it depends on how the story ends. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like if you did. Please let me know in the comments below what other videos or what other kind of rant topics you want me to go on about. Was that an enemy? No, okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I think I'm fighting chaos in today's vlog, and then eventually we're gonna go back to Topgolf too and do a lot of stuff there. So that video is gonna be lit as well. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys tomorrow.